Good morning. Welcome into Five Clubs here on a Monday, Golf Channel, and also PGA Tour Radio. That is Channel 92 on Sirius XM. As you can see, we are not in home or at home in Charlotte. We are on the road, just on the outskirts of the capital city of North Carolina, Raleigh, North Carolina. We are at Raleigh Country Club for the inaugural Grayson Murray Classic. There's so much to say over the next couple of hours about this event, about the young man who we lost about 16 months ago. A number of guests are going to be joining me, including the latest winner on the PGA Tour, who was always scheduled to be here. But of course, this program, no matter where we are, is always brought to you by Century Insurance, right by you. When it comes to business insurance needs, they can meet them, and they always will. Century Insurance, they invest in great things in the game of golf, from the United States Golf Association to the First Tee. Very proud that they are our presenting sponsor. Of course, Golf Pride, a North Carolina-based company down the road in Pinehurst, North Carolina. When it comes to grips, more players at every level trust Golf Pride. It's not close, and there are good reasons. Best materials, best products, best offerings. And of course, Peter Millar, headquartered right here. We're about 15 minutes from the headquarters of Peter Millar. When it comes to a lifestyle brand, when it comes to anything you need in your wardrobe, anything, they have you covered at Peter Millar. The Grayson Murray Classic is today on a glorious early fall day in Raleigh, North Carolina, which was home to Grayson Murray, and we're going to speak to his parents a little bit later on. We're going to speak to a number of his friends, and for those folks who watch this channel, you can possibly be unaware of the circumstances around Grayson's turbulent life and his very sudden death back in May of 2024. And when the folks who were involved in his foundation reached out to me, and as a matter of fact, Jeff Maginnes, who has been a surrogate to Grayson for a long, long time, going back to his early teenage years, came in studio, and we had a very deep discussion about what Grayson battled and what ultimately took his life. And he said, we're having this event in October. We would love it if you could be there. And we said, we want to do the show from there. And so here we are for the first of what we hope will be many, because the driving force of Grayson's foundation is about trying to provide help to those who need it desperately. He needed help, and he got help. And Grayson experienced a lot of hope right at the end of his life, but that doesn't change the challenges associated with depression, anxiety, addiction, alcoholism. And Grayson and I had a relationship that went back to his teenage years. I met him when he was 16 years of age, and there were clearly signs that he had turbulence in his life. And you just never know what anybody is going through. And one of the things that I remember when I found out that Grayson was gone, and I wrote about this, and I was on an overnight flight to London just a couple days after his death. And I wrote a piece, and you can find it on our website. You can find it online. And the title of it is Just for Today. And the truth is that applies to all of us. It is just today that we have. But the point I was trying to make in the things that I wrote about, specifically about his life, is that for all the people who thought because he was being productive professionally and he won the Sony Open, and it wasn't long after he won the Sony Open that Grayson and I had an hour conversation. There were so many things that he shared in that conversation. They're very powerful. They were powerful when I found out that he was gone. They're powerful today, and they will always be powerful, but most importantly, constructive, because the things that are associated with depression, anxiety, addiction, alcoholism, they can't be cured. They can be treated. And as somebody who is in recovery myself, and I'm very willing to talk about this, because one, it's therapeutic for me, but also I can only hope that there may be somebody out there that can hear something that they can identify with that may make them feel a sense of comfort, a little bit of peace, because that's all we're searching for, and that's all that Grayson Murray was searching for, because he did make the efforts to find peace, find calm, but again, it's just for today. And so I'll just share with you, and this is part of what I wrote about, is that I just, by happenstance, and I think it was divine, that I saw him 3 consecutive times in the months leading up to his death. And every one of those interludes led with the same thing that most of us always do. It's obligatory. It's kind of trite. How you doing? It's kind of what we lead with when we see somebody that we know. And we usually answer with good. How good? You don't know. And in the case of Grayson, we looked at each other and we said, no, really, man, how you doing? And that's what people who have dealt with things like depression and alcoholism and addiction, they do. They ask each other and they mean it, like, how are you? And it could be temporary, and that's just it. And the thing that I will always try to fall back on when it comes to him not being able to overcome the things that resided in him, that reside in a lot of people that deal with kind of the concoction that he was dealing with, is that, like I said, it cannot be cured, but it can be treated. And I know deep down that he experienced a level of peace, a level of hope that allowed him to go forward. And it was not accidental that he won the Sony Open at the beginning of 2024. Not at all, because he was in a place of calm, a place of solitude. And so even though the things that he battled came back and reared its ugly head and ultimately led to his death, it doesn't mean that lessons can't be learned, and it doesn't mean that because he's gone that the work doesn't go on, because it does. And that gets to why we're here today, and that is the Grayson Murray Classic, because his foundation was established not long after his death, and his parents are using his foundation to provide an opportunity for others through sources, money, donations with his foundation to give people help when it comes to mental health and also alcoholism and addiction and treatment. Because unless it's treated, there will be no hope. So over the course of the next 2 hours, we're going to speak to a number of people who knew Grayson well. And that is the other thing that is one of the difficult things about life, is that, yes, we sit here and we level platitudes on people after they're gone, and it's not as if Grayson was infallible. It's not as if he didn't have his stuff, because the truth is we all do. And there were things that happened in his life that were public, that were regrettable. But Joel Beal from Golf Digest didn't write one, he wrote two very poignant, very powerful pieces about Grayson and about the things that we can all learn, not only about him, but also kind of about ourselves, because judgment is part of kind of what we do. We look at things from afar and we make judgments, and it's not wrong. It's what we do. It's reflexive. But what he pointed out was there was a lot of other redeemable things that he was doing even while he was battling all that he was battling. And it just so happens that the guy who won yesterday on the PGA Tour, Steven Fisk, is going to be here today. He was always going to be here. So I will look forward to that conversation, not to mention conversations with his parents, with John McConnell, who owns this property, Raleigh Country Club, plus a number of other PGA Tour players. George Birge, who is going to perform tonight, a rising star in the country music world. He is going to be here. He's got golf in his life. Brooks Koepka is here. Brooks Koepka played the old course at St. Andrews yesterday. Flew home to Florida late yesterday. He's getting on a plane this morning. He will be here as well. His commitment to be here, I know, is felt by everybody who is running this event. Now, I mentioned the guy who won on the PGA Tour. We too have an obligation, and that is to talk about the game of golf. And believe me, that'll be interspersed. Steven Fisk, 140th in the FedEx Cup standings, 135 in the FedEx Cup Fall. He finished 30th, tied for 30th at the Pro Tour. He jumps up and pulls off shots late on a Sunday to win for the first time on the PGA Tour. You talk about life-changing. We'll talk about that. I thought his interview in the immediate aftermath of winning yesterday with Todd Lewis was fantastic. Garrick Higgo, who's already won twice on the PGA Tour. They were tied going to the 17th hole, and then Steven Fisk birdied 17 and 18 to win the golf tournament by 2. But Garrick Higgo, he improved his place in the FedEx Cup standings, 88 to 62. Rasmus Højgaard goes from 87th to 75th. Vince Whaley goes from 102 to 84. This is all important stuff, because we know that jobs on the PGA Tour is going to be 100 at the end of the FedEx Cup fall. And you see Rasmus Højgaard, he comes off being on a Ryder Cup team, a victorious European Ryder Cup team, and he, I'm sure, was bleary-eyed making his way to Jackson, Mississippi. A little bit different environment than Farmingdale, New York. Speaking of which, how about Robert McIntyre going home to Scotland and winning the Alfred Dunhill Links Championship? He too, I'm sure, probably had a big head, a heavy head on Monday morning getting on a flight, but he was one of 4 guys who were on that victorious European Ryder Cup team. Robert McIntyre has now won the Scottish Open, and he has now added the Dunhill Links Championship 1 week after the Ryder Cup. That was reduced to 54 holes. They had ungodly weather in Scotland. They had a weather system that ripped through there, winds blowing 60 miles an hour. They discontinued play on Saturday, reduced to 54 holes, but he jumps up and he wins again. He's at a different level. I mean, you could argue he is absolutely among one of the top 10 players in the world. So those are the winners yesterday from the DP World Tour and also from the PGA Tour. And like I said, Steven Fisk got on a charter plane with a couple other guys who were in the field at the Sanderson Farms to be here this morning for the Grayson Murray Classic. So when we continue, we will begin a number of conversations with people across the golf spectrum, but also the people that were most important to Grayson Murray. And I hope you'll listen closely to these conversations. And I hope that if there is anybody in your life that is struggling right now, just when you think there is no hope, I can promise you the next day can give you that first ray of light that there could be a road ahead. There can be something from tragedy that can help others avoid tragedies in their lives, to people closest to them, to whatever it is that they might be battling. Depression, anxiety, addiction. When you put all that stuff together, and I cannot tell you what a riptide that creates emotionally and psychologically and spiritually for anybody. And Grayson dealt with that, and he dealt with it valiantly until he couldn't anymore. It's great to be here. This is going to be a powerful morning. We're going to make it positive, because that's what this is about, is that from something so overwhelmingly tragic can come something that can be incredibly positive, and that is the Grayson Murray Foundation, driven by this inaugural Grayson Murray Classic. We're at Raleigh Country Club on McConnell property. We're going to talk to John McConnell, one of 17 that he owns, in the shadows of the capital city of Raleigh, North Carolina. It is 5 Clubs on Golf Channel and on PGA Tour Radio, Channel 92, Sirius XM. We are back with you on this Monday, a 2-hour show. We're back right after this. Welcome back on this Monday to 5 Clubs. You see those aerials of Raleigh Country Club in the shadows of the capital city of North Carolina. It's great to be at the Grayson Murray Classic, the inaugural. This segment brought to you by Golf Pride, a North Carolina-based company down the road in the Sandhills of North Carolina. When it comes to grips, nobody provides more to more players around the world at every level than Golf Pride. This property is beautiful. Great tilt, great roll. It's really neat that it's so close to the city limits. And the man who is central to why it is what it is John McConnell, the CEO of McConnell Golf. 17 properties, North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia, Tennessee. Mr. McConnell, good to see you. Good morning.
Well, thank you. I'm glad to have you guys here today.
Well, it's good to be here for all the right reasons. You know, from something so powerfully tragic can come some positivity, some hope, and some light. Let's start right there. What was the extent of your relationship with Grayson?
I met Grayson when he was approximately 13 years old. One of my friends had a local driving range and brought to my attention and said, "I've got this kid that's really good, John. You should give him playing privileges at Raleigh Country Club." And having grown up on a farm in Virginia, we didn't have access to any country clubs in my day, so I thought this is a way I can start to give back to the community, to people like myself who may not have had the ability to have a great course to play, and Grayson became my first recipient of the McConnell Golf Scholarship.
His road was circuitous, and at times it was turbulent. People who know him, there are times that there's a sense of helplessness. As somebody who was around him, I want you to share, because people have learned in the aftermath of his death, his generosity, his warmth, his empathy for other people. You saw that, I'm certain.
Yeah, I saw him on the driving range very often. He was out here, snow, rain, sleet, whatever. He was hitting golf balls, and he always had time to talk to the members, help them with their games if they asked for some assistance. But, he was just a good kid from all the things I saw of him.
I'm sure it's a little melancholy for you. I know you're proud that this event, the inaugural, is being held at the place that you gave him access to as a kid. You were an advocate for him. We all need advocates in life. How much it means to you that this event is here?
Well, I think looking at this day today, the blue sky, the Carolina blue, I feel like Grayson's right here among us. I feel like he's never left, quite honestly.
As somebody, I mentioned the 17 properties, giving and reciprocity and the things that you were trying to do as a leader in the Southeast specifically. How important is it for golf to do that, to give access, to give opportunities, particularly to young people, to play the game of golf?
I think it's very important, and when I look at the kids that come into the program, I believe we've got, counting Grayson, we have 2 PGA players, we have a live player, we've got 3 kids on Korn Ferry, and almost every person that's coming to the scholarship program has gone on to play college golf.
You mentioned growing up on a farm. What was it about golf that not only made you curious, but ultimately drove your business?
Well, on the farm, our first golf clubs were homemade. We used a tuna can for our cup, and from that point on, I fell in love with the game and watching. I think it was the Shell Wonderful World of Golf back in the day.
Sure.
That was kind of the inspiration that caused me to go on and enjoy this game for all my life.
For people not particularly familiar with McConnell Golf, I mentioned the number of properties, the states that you cover. This one lit the match. I mean, I want you to give people an idea of not only historically its importance as it relates to Donald Ross. Not only was he prolific, but he's so important to the state of North Carolina. Why was it for you almost a necessity to acquire this property as you did a little bit over 20 years ago?
Well, it was something that I backed into. It was never planned in my career. I was in healthcare software for 30-some years, and one day I had a friend, actually the same person that introduced me to Grayson, said, "Hey, John, have you been reading about Raleigh Country Club, and it's filing bankruptcy, and the developer has bought a note from the bank, and you need to go save that place." And I've always been a big Donald Ross fan, and I used to play this club even though I wasn't a member. I would play here periodically, and I just love this golf course. And so I had the necessary resources to, meet with the club management. We bought the club out of bankruptcy, and that began the impetus for McConnell Golf.
And it's grown and grown and grown. And anybody who's a member here, one of the other properties, they have privileges to go there. When you make the acquisition, 5 years later, all of a sudden we find ourselves in a very precarious place with the housing market. 2008, 2009, back into that, then COVID. Why do you think now in 2025, as we close out this year, that golf is in this incredibly good space?
I would say, I would say it had to do with COVID, number one, because people had to go outdoors, and golf had separation among people, and you could go play, and most people were working out of their houses. They wanted to go do something, and I think that became, the big reason that golf started to grow again. And then once they got into the game, they didn't quit. And that's the thing that's most impressive to me is we don't lose members anymore. We have waiting lists at almost all of our properties, and so I think the game is in a very healthy situation.
John, you're only as good, your clubs are only as healthy as your staff responding to the feedback from the membership. What are the most important things that golfers want? What do you think it is? What do golfers want in the experience beyond a golf course in great shape, good holes?
I think they want to drive in the parking lot and feel like they're in their own little paradise. And they want to be treated with not royalty, but they wanted to have a great experience. And our staff, we tell them every day, we have the opportunity to make that person's day. So the better we can serve them, the more excitement we can give to their game, and make sure the greens are perfect, make sure the food's good, they'll come back.
You own Sedgefield, which hosts the Wyndham Championship. You also own properties that host Corn Ferry Tour events. Sedgefield, I'm just curious, down the road in Greensboro, great history, another Donald Ross golf course. Donald Ross, for you, what do you love most about what his eye produced?
I think he gives you the ability to hit every shot. And there's nothing easy about Donald Ross greens, and I was always a very good putter, and I love his green complexes.
Last thing, let's get back to why we're here, and that is, Grayson, what is most important for people to understand about this day, but it's all the days going forward and what this foundation can do? What would you like to impart upon the audience about Grayson's foundation? It's important, starting in the industry of golf.
I think this foundation has a mission. It's got legs. I think we can impact a lot of people that have the same mental illness that Grayson had, that, hey, we can make a difference in their lives going forward. So I think Grayson's death will make a big impact on many people in the years to come.
John, it's very good to see you. So happy that we're here at a place that meant so much to him, as somebody who opened a door for him because he wanted to make golf his life. He loved it so much and had success doing it. Great to see you.
Thank you, Gary, and appreciate you guys being here.
Absolutely. John McConnell, the CEO of McConnell Golf, owns Raleigh Country Club, the site of the inaugural Grayson Murray Classic. We continue this Monday edition with you till 10 a.m. Eastern Time, not only here on Golf Channel. Of course, you can listen as well. That is PGA Tour Radio, Channel 92 on Sirius XM. We're back right after this. Welcome back in this Monday edition of 5 Clubs Golf Channel, also PGA Tour Radio. That's Channel 92 on Sirius XM. This segment brought to you by Century Insurance. If you have business insurance needs, they want to be right by you. They will meet whatever needs you have. And of course, all that they do in the game of golf with the USGA and the First Tee. All right, joining me now, good friends and great at what they do. They've got their own show. It'll be here. It'll be later today on Sirius XM's Channel 92. That, of course, Brian Katrek, John Maginnes. You guys are everywhere. You work every week. You work every event. You'll try to work this event, which you are. There's a member tomorrow over at Old Chatham. You guys can call that.
It's the Gabor sisters' philosophy. We just say yes. They were married 14 times between them, and we figured, we're just going to go with that.
Yes, of course. It's good to see you both. Look, this is a melancholy kind of day because we're here for something. A tragedy led to all of us being here, but we all have to pivot, we all have to turn corners, and we all have to try to find hope. You guys, you call the shots of the best players in the world, but here's the thing, you guys know everybody. How well did you know Grayson?
Not very well, but well enough to be just as surprised and shocked by this as everybody else, and I think that's the underlying message. And I've heard you talk about the underlying message. He was a tough guy, he's a guy you would never have worried about, but that's not the point. The point is we should worry about and take care of everybody.
Yep.
And but unfortunately, I didn't get to know him that well.
John, you're a North Carolina kid, as was he. Just your view of him, and then, making a living doing this is hard. And making this, doing a living when you have things that are really, really difficult to deal with on a daily basis. How about you? How about your relationship with Grayson?
I knew who he was
Sure.
long before I met him because he was such a good player from the area. He went to several colleges.
Yep.
One of them I actually got into. And and then, once you actually saw him swing the golf club and do what he could do with the golf ball, you knew that he was destined for greatness. And obviously the talent was overwhelming. The talent was greater than the demons at times, which was amazing. And I reached out to him when some of those demons appeared on social media years ago, just to say, hey, you know, we're all in this together. Mm-hmm. I never got to know him as well as I would have liked to. I think there's a long list of people that feel that exact same way. And, you know, you inevitably, there's going to be a golf course full of people that wish that they had made one more phone call or said one more thing. And I think that inevitably what we learn from these situations is do the hard thing, make the phone call. You know, in every emotional situation, there's a hard thing and an easy thing. The hard thing's always the right thing to do. Make the phone call, sit down with the person, take them to coffee, because that can make a big difference.
John mentioned the demons. Here's the thing about the demons. The demons can experience dormancy, but they're there. They live. And you know, when he won the Sony Open, you cannot do that unless you are experience a level of peace and solitude that allows your mind to operate so that your body then is in line with your mind. You're a good amateur player. You know how hard it is to do what these guys do. This is not because it's in the aftermath of all this. When he won, it was one of the great triumphs. Of course, he had won before, but to do it again, I know you can remember when he won the Sony Open and he made that long putt, and you're going, how good is this story to start the year in 24?
And it seemed like it was going to be the start of something else, too, because those were his comments afterwards. He said, this is a new me. You know, I have found something. I found that place. He didn't say the other thing you said, which was, you know, I'm not ever completely past the other place. That's very important to know. You know, it's a great perspective that you have.
It's you know, I don't have to say it every day. It would be unnecessary. But I wake up every day untreated. It's my responsibility to treat it. And some days, you know, they're awfully good, and there are other days that I'm a little irritable. And irritable, and discontented, truculent. I think that those were behaviors that he exhibited because those are the things that he was dealing with, John.
But as you know, that's not who he was.
No!
And unfortunately, in the world we live in today, where you're judged on a 5-second clip or a 10-second clip, and inevitably it's at your weakest or worst moment. There were people who didn't get it, and they didn't want to get it, and that's, I think, another part of the message here is that, you know, give everybody a chance. We're all carrying around something.
We all have our stuff. Today is not only about being productive and raising awareness and hopefully dollars. It's also supposed to be constructive for everybody, because as somebody who did this, look, it's hard not to get wrapped up in your score being your identity, and there's a loneliness to the road that can also be particularly challenging, and the resources necessary and the things that tour players look at. It looks like the greatest life in the world because we only show made putts. We don't show guys walking in the parking lot on a Friday night because their week is over and they're not paid. Just your perspective on resources in the tour and the things that are essential going forward.
Well, I think that this was a huge wake-up call for them.
Yeah.
I mean, this was one of their stars mid-season going down, and I do feel like they've made some inroads, but the fact of the matter is the road is lonely, and you are competing against 155 other guys. Yes, some of those are your friends. Some of those are not. The caddies fall into that same category. It's tough out there, and regardless of how you're playing, you're still sitting in the hotel room wondering when the next season of Ted Lasso's coming out. You know, you're looking for something to grab onto, and when the opposite happens and you're playing poorly and you're stuck in that same hotel room, bad things can happen.
Yeah.
And we know that, and the tour is, I think, finally addressing that.
Yeah, which is important. Look, every sports league needs it. Some need it more from a physical standpoint than they do it from an emotional, mental standpoint. While I've got you here, look, you guys, your show is such a staple for so many people who want to stay in tune with what is going on in all of golf, because you guys talk about everything. I think you talk about movies and other things more maybe than golf, which I particularly like. But have you guys experienced a week having covered a lot of Ryder Cups? You called it, you were anchoring it, you were on the golf course, where there's been more reaction, fallout, feedback than this past one?
This one, we did 3 days of
Just
full phone lines. We have 9 of them, and they were full for 3 days. And had the golf tournament not started in Jackson on Thursday, I think we could have gone all the way through.
Most certainly.
You could probably still be doing it right now. So the Mondays after majors and some of the bigger ones this year with Rory winning the Masters, that one spread into Tuesday. We got a little bit on Wednesday, but no, I've never seen the call volume. I've never seen everybody be this charged up on both sides. With all kinds of, no matter which direction you looked, it was fascinating. So now this is the biggest reaction, I think, from the people that I've seen.
You're far too dignified to answer this question honestly, so I'll answer it for you after I ask it. Have you ever been to a wedding that you knew had zero chance of going the distance? This marriage was doomed.
Do you want me to write the list or say the list?
That's what the Ryder Cup feels to me like now. There's all this optimism. We feel great about it in that moment, and then it gets started, and it just goes sideways quickly. I mean, what happened on Friday and Saturday? I mean, that was
historic.
I didn't cover a single group with an American point.
They never
All
had
week,
2 red flags on the.
I never got a point.
That's remarkable.
He was the problem.
I could be the problem.
One of the things we didn't see coming, because everybody saw this fan situation coming when they awarded the tournament to Bethpage.
Yes.
What they didn't see coming until it was too late was, you know what, if the team that the New York fans are rooting for starts to lose, well, they become a detriment, and they turned on them, which I thought, from our perspective, was kind of humorous. But yeah, it was a remarkable week. And then at one point on Sunday, I look at Colt, and he says to me during a commercial break, he says, this would be the greatest comeback in all of sports. So that's a whole different debate. I think he's right. But to go from the lowest of lows, Friday and Saturday, to maybe the greatest comeback in all of sports,
it was a putt away from being, it was a putt away from the lane being available. Mm-hmm. And that obviously was Henley putt falling short, and then Lowry making that putt and having a great celebration. It's funny that you guys talked about all the days doing it. Golf gets to be a Big Four sport once every 2 years, and to a lesser degree the President's Cup. But it's the reaction that, like you said with Rory, it's a day and a half. Hey, good for him. but when you become a team and you lose, blame gets amplified to tenfold. Like I miss Mondays during football season because I was raised doing talk radio, talking all sports. Everybody thinks they're an offensive coordinator.
Yes.
I mean, they absolutely do.
Nobody's talking about Garrick Higo under-reading a putt yesterday in Jackson. Congratulations to Steven Fisk, who's here, by the way. You mentioned that. No, everybody was second-guessing everything about the Ryder Cup, and I love it.
From setup to crowds to, the only thing they didn't question was the free hot dogs.
Oh, they were
free hot dogs. I mean, I really think that saved.
Where were those free hot dogs?
In
everywhere.
Every concession stand was cashless. It was free.
Yeah.
It came with your ticket. I mean,
ticket price was a premium. All beef hot dog.
How would you have felt about it if you had paid that premium and said, you know what, Friday and Saturday were enough. I can't take it anymore, and you got rid of those tickets for half value on Sunday and missed what would have been, Sunday was worth every step, every penny, every emotional piece of currency. But up to that point, it wasn't, and it could have been just an utter disaster.
Do you guys have your own theories on why Rory? He's the touchstone of the team. I get that. But he's not Colin Montgomery in his prime when Golf Digest is making buttons at the O2 U.S. Open. Be nice to Monty. I've still got that button, by the way.
Really?
I do indeed.
I did not put it on my hat that week.
I didn't wear it. I've got it amongst a bunch of junk. Why? Why do you think he became the bullseye?
This was a transitional year. You've been there every step of the way. So, obviously with Liv and Rory being the face of the opposition, there were a lot of young fans that saw Bryson, and they thought, well, this is the guy that Bryson was battling against for these last couple of years. So that's where you lose some folks. Rory's been willing to put the black hat on the last couple of last year and a half.
He's a righteous dude.
Yeah, he's said things. He's done being Mr. Polite, Mr. Politically correct. You understand all that, and so because of that, he becomes an easier target. And then he's got his buddy Shane, and they decided instead of absorbing this from the fans, we're going to go after him. And that was the wrong crowd to go after.
I just don't think you can take that kind of abuse for 12 straight hours. And he was out there every session, and you could see it happening in the afternoon, both on Friday and Saturday. I mean, the things that they were saying to Shane were offensive to some of us of size. And the things that they were saying to Rory were offensive to those of us who were degenerates. I mean, the things that came out of some of those people's mouths, they should be ashamed of themselves.
No question.
I mean, it was atrocious, and I wasn't even with that group. I was with a lot of nice guys, and they were saying horrible things. They were saying bad things to broadcasters.
Let me tell you something. At the 2019 PGA, I heard things said to Adam Scott. I left there going, 2025 is going to be really, really difficult, because if he's playing an individual stroke event, you're saying it to the Roger Federer of golf.
Right.
Like, okay, 6 years from now is going to be what it is. But for Rory to put a bow on this year with the Masters, Pebbles, a nice feather, Players again, Irish Open. How do you assess his year from the sense of, he's not the player of the year over Scottie Scheffler in my mind, he's not, but there's something about his year that from a personal check every box, like who else could get more out of his year than him?
I think you just nailed it, and he's not going to get the Jack Nicklaus Award again.
No, he's not.
But I don't want to say he doesn't care, because he loved it, but he's got everything else.
I'll say it. I think at this point, Rory can play the rest of his career unburdened. He's going to practice. He's going to stay in great shape. He's going to keep that club head speed. But as far as accomplishments go, he's finished. He's done it all. He's in the Hall of Fame. He's going to be considered one of the greatest players of all time, no matter what happens next. And so, consequently, I can't wait to see what happens next, because I think without those constraints, he's the most talented player I've ever seen besides Tiger Woods. I can't wait to see what the last quarter of his career looks like.
Yeah, the aftermath of the Masters had to be wonky.
Sure.
And when you get to Summit without an oxygen tank, and then you're supposed to go back to base camp and start climbing again a month later in Charlotte, the whole thing was weird. I'm with you. There's an unburdened, untethered component to him now. You just hope that he doesn't get like Rocky and he becomes civilized, which was the great line in Rocky 3.
Well done.
He got civilized.
Yeah, the away Ryder Cup that he called,
yes,
that he Joe Namath.
The chip down.
The next one's in his backyard, though.
Yeah.
Right. So maybe we're missing something. I didn't really realize how important that was going to be to him. So hopefully there's 3 or 4 more things that we don't know are that important to him. And the next Ryder Cup in Ireland, maybe, does he want to be a winning playing captain on his home island? Is that?
He said no.
Know.
He said he was offered it, and which was really a revelation for me and a lot of other people. Like, wow, they've already offered you Ireland, and you said no. And it was in response to a question about Keegan doing it. He said, I don't think you can do both. As a matter of fact, I've already been offered. I'm not doing it. You mentioned Steven Fisk. Stories like that. Look, the guy was 140. And then he finished tied for 30 at the Pro Tour. He's 135. Look, he is in a very precarious place. And then John, he hit shots down the stretch like Steven Fisk has done this a lot. No, he hadn't. He'd never been in that circumstance before, and then he did what he did.
I was blown away. Loved the golf course. Loved the people there. Hated to not be there this year. And I was reminded of something that Paul Azinger said years ago on the old ABC broadcast, when he said, every player out here is one swing thought away from winning the next week. Mm-hmm. And they got there for a reason, because of the talent that they have and because of the work that they put in. Steven Fisk found the rest of it. And for the rest of his life, he's a PGA Tour winner. Can't take that away from him. He gets a card every year for the rest of his life. That is That is something to behold. Right
Yeah,
there.
Brian, you know, everybody's mind wanders to things like, oh gosh, you know, the next 6 months could be challenging. He's going, okay, might be losing my job. I don't know how often he thought about that.
Often. Trust me, from somebody who lost that job many times. It's with you when you wake up. It's with you when you go to sleep. It's with you.
What does October look like 2 years from now on the PGA Tour?
That's a great question. I don't think it looks too dissimilar from where we're at, simply because this is great drama for golf fans. You know, this is
We know the lane we're in. It's football season. We get it. The audience is modest, but they're dedicated.
So, yeah, what did that win mean for Steven Fisk? You just pointed that out. So, for the golf fans, this is not meaningless golf. This is very meaningful golf. And is it a little more fair than a 6-round Q school? Well, this guy, you know, is a perennial graduate of that 6-round Q school. Yeah, this is a little bit better than that.
Yeah.
It's a little better measure. This is kind of exactly what it seems like it is. It's a tweener between a full season on the Korn Ferry Tour and 6 lottery rounds in a Q school. 6 was better than 4. Well, 6 or 7 tournaments is better than 6 rounds. So I think you follow the money. I think if you've got sponsors that are willing to see this drama and we can embrace it and have them on the Golf Channel, just like we do, I don't think it looks too dissimilar.
Unfortunately, that is not the message we're getting out of headquarters. You know, we're getting. We're gonna scale back. We're gonna make golf fans want golf more. I don't get that. Are we losing? I think we're doing just fine. Why are we going smaller?
Yeah, and you know, meanwhile, the Korn Ferry Tour, Cole Hammer contributes with us. He was 79th. He was 79th last year, knowing that he needed a very good son. He shot 64. He's got a job next year. And these stories are stories that, again, I understand the audience is modest. It's an audience, and they're there. As you guys know, people who turn on Channel 92 on Sirius XM, you guys could be catatonic, and they won't change the channel. It doesn't mean your material's not good, but you know.
You're a long-time listener.
It's
Heard some of the Wednesday shows. There's always something for us. The best part, you've said it a billion times, it's a game we play.
Yeah.
So if the professional game's not super entertaining to us, for whatever reason, well, it's a game we play. There was always that 7-iron you shanked against your buddy, and you can call and vent to us about that.
Yep. Let's get back to where we began and why we're here. What do you guys want to share with the audience, viewers, listeners, in terms of, you know, what a day like this can mean for others? We can't identify them individually yet. These resources get distributed, but without those resources, those unidentifiable people may go untreated.
Well, and look at the people who've stepped up, yourself included, by coming here. John McConnell and the whole McConnell Golf organization, Jeff Manis and his crew. I mean, the folks that have decided that this is how they want to spend the day, for a good cause. I take my hat off to them. That's why I got up and drove here 2.5 hours this morning, just to be a part of it.
Yeah, George Birge is here. He brought his guitar.
Yes.
Yeah.
Rising star in the country music world is
Yeah.
here. And a golfer, a real bona fide golfer. It's funny that the stories of him trying to walk on the University of Texas golf team, I look forward to talking to him about that. One last thing about what you said in terms of, you know, what this is for and everything is that I hope, because sadly he's not here, is that there is a sense of, God, this guy did a lot of really, and I give Joel Beal a lot of credit. He chronicled it in 2 pieces in Golf Digest. For all the stuff that you may see publicly, there are likely redeemable aspects to most people. Those redeemable aspects, you hope the light can be shined on it, but now it is being shined on, and I just hope that people will respond and that this foundation can make a real impact.
I think it's going to save some lives. And if it saves one, it was worth every bit of effort, but I think it's going to do more than that.
It's great to see you both. Your show later today. From here, then you got to get home, put kids to bed at some point.
Yeah. Kindergarten in the morning.
And just, I don't want to produce here, but this 3-shot right here is a graphic opportunity. Knew where the free hot dogs were, didn't know where the free hot dogs were.
John Maginnes, Brian Katrek and Maginnes later on this afternoon, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday on PGA TOUR Radio, Sirius XM's Channel 92. We're back here. It is hour one on a Monday on 5 Clubs after this. Back in this Monday edition of 5 Clubs Golf Channel and PGA Tour Radio's Channel 92 on Sirius XM. This segment brought to you by Peter Millar. I could run over there right after this show because they are about 15 minutes away, Raleigh-based company. And of course, when it comes to your needs, whatever it is, when it comes to apparel, your lifestyle, from the golf course to the boardroom to a soccer game to working out, they have you covered. The most comprehensive lifestyle brand in apparel for men is Peter Millar and petermillar.com. We are at the Grayson Murray Classic, year one. Of course, it's hard to imagine that we're almost a year and a half removed from his death. And if you want to find out more about the foundation, you can go to GraysonMurrayFoundation.com. Today is going to be a driving force for raising dollars with the auction items, with the participation of people coming not only to play golf today, but also to go to the gala dinner tonight. I appreciate the folks who've already joined me. We've got a number that will join me in hour two. We've got another hour for you on Golf Channel. And we're going to be joined by a guy who won a golf tournament yesterday on the PGA Tour, his first, Steven Fisk. He was always going to be here, and I'm not going to say it was divine intervention, but he was always going to participate in this. And yesterday, coming down the stretch, executed shots in a manner that is inspiring, not only for himself going forward, but everybody else out there playing the PGA Tour who has bouts and stretches where your game is not where it needs to be, and all of a sudden you find yourself in a precarious place as it relates to employment, and you're standing in the FedEx Cup as well. And we hope, before we go off the air, we don't know, because he was playing golf in Scotland yesterday, that is Brooks Koepka. Brooks is making the effort to be here. He flew his family home from Scotland to Florida, got in late last night, and is coming back up here to Raleigh, North Carolina to participate. And that just goes to show you these people are dedicated to helping this foundation in the memory of Grayson Murray. So we have another hour to go on Golf Channel. 5 Clubs here from Raleigh Country Club in the shadows of the capital city of North Carolina. And we're looking forward to the guests who are going to be joining me. We're back right after this. Welcome back in. It is hour two of 5 Clubs on Golf Channel. And as you can see, not from the studios in Charlotte, we moved up the road to the capital city of Raleigh for the Grayson Murray Classic. It is year one to raise money and, most importantly, awareness about the challenges that everybody has. And certainly Grayson fought those challenges with depression, anxiety, and addiction, and he succumbed to it. But others do not have to, and that is the primary force of the foundation itself. And we certainly hope, and all the organizers hope, that this golf tournament will become not only a staple here, but for the golf community to continue to raise awareness and funds to help others who need that help. And this program, always brought to you by Century Insurance. They are right by you. They invest in golf in such great ways, and we're so proud that they are our presenting sponsor, Peter Millar. They're right down the road here in Raleigh, North Carolina. It's layered season. I got 3 layers on, and it's Peter Millar, all of them. Whatever you need, go to petermillar.com. And of course, Golf Pride. When it comes to grips, they have more offerings, better materials. That's why more players trust Golf Pride than any other grip in the world. He has gripped a golf club. He is not somebody who can play music and goes out and people just overlook the fact that he can't play, because he can play. Joining me now, rising star in country music, and the guy who tried to walk on at the University of Texas, the hubris to walk on at Texas, George Birge. George, good to see you. Good morning. How are you?
I'm great, Gary. Thanks for having me in, man.
Hey, thanks for doing this. Look, musicians, you guys are always playing. You're always on the road. You made the effort to be here. Why did you feel it was important to be at this event?
Like you just said, this is an incredible cause. Obviously, it was a tragedy to lose Grayson, and the fact that people are rallying around it, coming out here, raising awareness, raising money for the cause, it was something that I felt called to be a part of and was very thankful to get the invitation.
Do you have anybody close to you, remotely close to you, that battles stuff? Because I always say to everybody, look, you don't realize that you're likely probably not more than a degree separated from somebody who's got something that they're dealing with.
Well, I think there's a lot of overlap in music and golf, and the fact that
Yes.
we're both always touring, we're always on the road, you're away from home, you don't always have your support system with you, and also it's I think there's a lot of similarity. You're always being judged on a golf course, you're always being judged on stage, and that pressure can get to you. And so I've had friends struggle with it, and I have a lot of friends in the golf world too, and on both sides of the table. And it's something that I have never to that extent, but you feel that pressure and you
Sure.
get down on yourself, and sometimes it does feel like there is the walls closing in, and it's nice to know that there's help out there and there's people that want to give others a hand up and make sure that doesn't happen anymore.
That's well said. You mentioned it's a lonely road. Musicians, you guys play at night. You got all day, and so many of you turn to golf for. It's not just killing time. There's something very redeemable about it, but you can really play. Let's talk about your journey in the game of golf. When did it start?
Yeah, I started playing golf as a sophomore in high school. I was a baseball player and a tennis player, and I had gotten invited out to go play Lions Municipal Golf Course in Austin,
gosh.
Texas for the first time. And I beat all my friends the first time I ever played. I mean, we all shot a million, but it was one of those things I was like, man, I kind of like this. And so then I got addicted to it. I started hitting golf balls every time I could. And then by the summer, I was playing 36 holes every day. I quit baseball, joined my high school golf team because I loved it so much. And then by my senior year, I was playing the #1 spot on varsity on my high school golf team. And then ended up playing the walk-on tournament at the University of Texas my freshman year, which I could feel my heart beating out of my chest still on the first tee.
That's fantastic.
But I ended up winning that, which didn't give me a spot on the golf team. It gave me an opportunity to play in front of Coach Fields at Steiner Ranch, the golf course we have out there. And I played 18 holes in front of Coach Fields, and at the end of it, he welcomed me on the team and gave me a locker and a spot on the team. So it was pretty special, yeah.
That's great. First of all, Lions Muni, the passion of Julie and Ben Crenshaw, they poured their heart and soul.
Save Muni, man. It's so
Save
special.
Muni.
Yeah.
It's a great, it's such a great initiative, and that place has got soul. I mean, it is so many people like you, whether it's an introduction to the game or whether it's where I've always played. That is the cross-section of America right there.
It is.
Lions Muni, which I'm glad you brought it up. Let me ask you about this experience when John Field says, okay, now you won this kind of pre-qualifier. Now you're getting this opportunity. I think you played with Jonathan Vegas. Did you not?
Yes.
Okay, and Jonathan Vegas for you was like golf's wake-up call.
That was
like
when
you're a baseball player,
realized-
tennis player. I got speed, man.
That was when I realized that professional golf was probably not going to be in the cards for me. We had our first qualifier at Austin Country Club, and I remember we teed off of 10, which is just right along the driving range there. And I thought I had speed. I thought I was a player, and I busted a driver out there, probably 300 yards at the time. And Jonathan hit 3-wood about 20 past me, and then he chipped it better and he putted better too. And I quickly realized that the PGA Tour might not be in my future.
George, though, when you get a locker and now you're in a culture, you're in one of the great team cultures in college golf. What did you get out of that? What did you get about the exposure to that period of your life?
I think it was work ethic more than anything. All of those guys weren't there on accident, and they were super warm and welcoming to me. And I was definitely an outsider. I hadn't grown up in the like elite junior golf culture. I was had just gotten to that level
Sure.
of golf, and so to see the way that those guys practiced, to see how disciplined they were, it was definitely cool to watch. And even though I didn't have dreams of being on the tour, getting ingrained with those guys and getting to watch their journey was really fun. And Jonathan and I keep up with each other.
That's
and he's
awesome.
been rooting for me as we're having success in the music world. And
Yes.
I congratulate him. It seems like every time he's winning it. So it's kind of been fun to make those connections. We kind of joke that every golfer wants to be a musician and every musician wants
There's
to be
no
a
doubt.
golfer. So the overlap has been great.
There's no doubt, and I would imagine as an Austin kid and a Longhorn, you're investing all these Texas guys on tour. Let me just your viewpoint on Scheffler. As somebody who can play golf, but there is playing golf, and then there's being so good that sometimes you just go, it's unimaginable how good he is. What's your view of what he's done?
I think his skill is otherworldly, right?
Yeah.
But I think the most impressive thing about him is his foundation. And I think that's a Texan mentality, man. You take care of your family. He's a great husband. He's a great dad. He takes care of the people around him. He never feels like he's chasing. Like, he knows exactly who he is. And I think when you know exactly who you are, it makes it that much easier to go out and have that confidence on the golf course that I don't have to change anything. I don't have to try to be anything I'm not. Keep my head down, do exactly what I know how to do, and it's going to turn into a W. And I think the artist world is the same way. When I started having success was when I stopped chasing what the radio sounded like or what other artists sounded like or who I thought I could be to turn into a hit artist, and started writing songs that I believed in. And then all of a sudden, it started working. You know,
Sure.
when you are exactly who you know you can be, and you're not trying to chase. And I see that in Scotty so much, and it's fun to watch. You know, I'm always rooting for a Longhorn, but him especially, as a dad myself, like somebody I can point at as a role model.
Yes.
Somebody my kids get excited to watch on TV and hook them. That's what I got to say to that.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, you got guys. I mean, I'm sure you rode that amazing Spieth wave, which is. It can be nauseating at times, but it's always exhilarating.
Yeah.
Jordan's special too. Before I let you go, let's get a little music breakdown. Who can play golf? Because, like you said, a lot of guys do. Who can play?
There's a lot of them out there. I spent the summer on tour with Luke Bryan. He's probably a 5 handicap now.
Solid.
He's a good player. Darius Rucker is a good player. Jake
Barry
Owen
is an ill golfer. He's terminally addicted.
Yes,
to
like
golf.
we're all sickos,
Yes.
man. That's what it is. Jake Owen's a great player.
Yeah, Jake can play.
Charles Kelly's a great player.
Yep.
From Lady A. Scotty McCreery's got sneaky game. I always say if there was somebody I was going to bring to a member guest, it'd be Scotty McCreery. He's running around a 5 or a 6, but he'll run you over there. He's steady, and the moment doesn't get to him either. If you've got a putt to win, you want Scotty rolling it.
That guy is so invaluable as a partner. Thomas Rhett was the first guy who played live music in the studios at Golf Channel when I was hosting the morning show in Orlando. And I've heard that he's gotten into golf.
He has. I don't know if he's quite a stick yet, but I know he's into it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's great that you're finding something that you always found in golf, which is a love for it, the competitive bent. But let's get back to where we started and being here. Are you going to play some music at some point
We are.
today?
We're going to play some music tonight. Hopefully, rally everybody together and have a good time. You know, I get to combine my 2 favorite things out here, teeing a little white ball and playing some music. So I think it should be for a really great day, and just already seeing all the folks that have shown up today to come out to support, I have a feeling it's going to be a pretty special day.
Yeah, George, it is, look, it's hard not to get emotional as to the circumstances as to why we are here, but I think a lot of people are going to experience a lot of joy today, and most importantly, a lot of inspiration to make a contribution, big and small, to what this foundation intends to be, and that is a difference maker for people who are in need of mental health and anxiety and addiction and alcoholism issues. It's just the beginning. Thank you so much for coming on, for being here. It's great to see you.
So honored to be here. Thanks, Gary.
All right, there's George Birge, who is, you know, I mean, you try to walk on the Texas golf team, you can play golf. And then Johnny Vegas said, you can play golf, but you can't really play golf, right? We continue here. He won a golf tournament 14 hours ago in the state of Mississippi. Steven Fisk will join me right here from the Raleigh Country Club. It's 5 Clubs on Golf Channel. Back right after this. Back in this Monday edition of 5 Clubs here on Golf Channel from Raleigh Country Club for the inaugural Grayson Murray Classic. It's great to be here. This segment brought to you by Peter Millar. When it comes to your needs, and it's not just on the golf course, it's everything you would ever wear in your life. It's available at Peter Millar, petermillar.com, not to mention retail stores all over the country. You can just look it up, go to their website for all of their retail spots. They're in most major cities and beyond. All right, joining me now, 14 hours ago, he wrapped in a putt on 18 to win by 2 at the Sanderson Farms. And here he sits on a Monday alongside the guy he gave a bear hug to when it was over. Steven Fisk, Jay Green. Gentlemen, good morning. How are you feeling?
I'd say we're feeling pretty good.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Definitely been a whirlwind last 24 hours or so, but happy to be here.
You know, Jay, when I see a caddy embrace a player after a win, whether it's the first or the 50th. Look, you guys, he's in your ear, you're in his all day. It's a question that producers always say, don't ask what it feels like. Guess what? I'm going to ask you. What did that hug feel like, knowing what that meant to him and kind of for you guys together?
Yeah, I mean, it's everything you work for. It's your childhood dream. I never thought I would be caddying as a career, but just all the work that goes into it, just hours and hours. And for Steven on Monday or Tuesday, tell me, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I feel like this could be a really special week. And sure enough, it was.
Why'd you feel that? Why'd you say it out loud?
I've been putting a lot of really good work in the last month or two. We don't play a lot of Bermuda grass on tour, and it was all Bermuda, which is what I'm most comfortable with. And just felt like things were trending in the right direction. So it's just kind of one of those gut feelings.
Look, you were solid at the Pro Tour. You finished tied for 30th there. And that's one of the things, like you guys, you play the Wyndham, and then you have 5 months or 5 weeks of inactivity, no competitive golf where there's real edge. What did you guys do to create as good an environment in the time that you couldn't play golf tournaments? You're smiling like we didn't do much at all.
So we played 6 weeks in a row through Wyndham. And I went home and took almost 2 weeks off. And I actually played more golf in Napa than I played in the month off that I was home.
Wow.
I did a bunch of practice, of course, but I just tried to kind of tighten some things up and, trust that I know what I'm doing out there.
These are moments of truth, and we'll get to the shots you hit down the stretch. But for you, I'm sure there are things that you impart upon him, messaging he might respond to, things that maybe he needs to hear. It's a moment of truth for you, too, like saying the right thing and
sure.
emoting body language, which is such a big part of your job.
Yeah.
Do you remember anything you said down the stretch? Because Garrett Higo wasn't going away. I mean, it was wildly impressive. What did you say to him the last several holes?
No, I think Steven and I were very aware of adrenaline. So we were hitting, I think, for the last 9 holes, like one less club than Garrick.
Yeah.
And, it was working out for us. But as a caddy, I try and stay very even keel. And I thought Steven was incredibly, level all day. And, yeah, I mean, he told me kind of walking to the first tee, like, nothing is getting in my way of what I want to accomplish today.
Wow.
And it was kind of like, I mean, this is a first time in this situation, really, being in the final group. And for him to say that, I'm kind of like, okay, he's not afraid of the moment. He's ready. He's ready to go. So it was just awesome.
It was, and the shots you hit down the stretch, 16, 17, 18. Look, I'm completely fascinated by all levels of performance by elite athletes, because the mind has to cooperate with the body at the most critical moments. And you get into a state of flow state where, like, as soon as you think about it, you lose it. What was the processing like for you the last couple of holes?
It was funny. You would think that I'd be a lot more nervous than I was. I was just so comfortable with everything that Jay and I were doing out there. It was kind of on autopilot in a sort of way, and I just kept hitting such good shots. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and like Jay said, I really just felt like it was going to work out for us.
You said, I thought it was a wonderful interview immediately after with Todd Lewis on Golf Channel, and you used a couple words and terms. You said, I got grit and I got self-belief. Belief and doubt sometimes can coexist in a room. Tell me about self-belief. I mean, is it something that can be elusive at times? Is it something that you always feel like you possess, but at times there's more of it?
It definitely can come and go. But with how comfortable I was with everything, I just felt like I was building and building with believing that it was going to be my week. And it's just that feeling you get. It just kind of consumes you. And I don't know. It was wild, man. I mean, it was so special to be out there and have that opportunity and be ready to attack it and be comfortable out there.
The shot on 17, Higo hits it close, he misses, you make, so you walk to 18T with a one-shot lead. Did you say anything to him on 18T?
Did we talk about a high bomb at all? Because Steven had put in kind of earlier in the week this high bomb where he tees it up just a little bit higher.
Yeah.
And he gets probably 10 yards extra. And I think you just said, no, this is just a stock one.
No, it was straight downwind. So, I mean, after, getting a one-shot lead with one to play, I just kind of felt like, 18 is not the easiest hole, even though it was downwind.
Yeah.
I felt like if I could hit the fairway, that would most likely, get it done for us and
sure.
Probably hit the best drive of my life.
I mean, under the circumstance, how could it not be?
Yeah.
Was the second on 18 a byproduct of the second on 17?
I mean, they were definitely similar.
Yeah.
I can tell you I wasn't trying to hit it left of that pin on 18. Definitely pulled it a few yards, but, it's just... Jay and I talk about it all the time. We do play for some variance out there, and with a back pin that's tucked a little bit over to the left. I usually play a little bit of a cut, but every once in a while on the course I'll hit a little pull, and I think it gave it that little bit extra to get it all the way back there.
Speaking to my point, we were 157 yards and we hit pitching wedge. That's
I saw the club and I'm like, that's a wedge.
Yeah. Typically a 145 club.
Right, right.
We were trying to hit it 5 paces short, and
we weren't trying to hit it to 3 feet.
Yeah. So you start the fall 140. You have a nice week. You move 5 spots. You're at 135 coming in the week. Look, I don't have to tell you anything you don't already know about less cards, all that stuff. What is it like to wake up and the outlook of where you are and your 65th? Does that affect your mind? I mean, did you wake up this morning with thoughts about that, and that your view of the rest of the year, it's different. It just is.
Yeah, it's definitely different. I mean, I was talking to my wife a week or two ago. I was looking at signing up for Q School in case I needed to, trying to see where I needed to finish to potentially just get into final stage. Things have definitely changed a bit, but I think with the team I have in place and the support I have, we're ready for some new challenges.
I would imagine you were playing all the events in the fall.
Yeah.
You still are? You guys still playing them all, or are you gonna look at you now? Tour winner. I'll take a couple weeks off.
Yeah, we get a couple weeks off now, and I think there's a chance we may skip one more this fall, but we'll see.
Understandable.
I mean, obviously, with the way the tour's set up, if we can somehow get in that top 60 before the end of the fall, we can get into a couple of signature events, which sounds kind of crazy to say.
Yeah.
It's real, man. It's right there.
Yeah, so we'll see.
You mentioned your wife, and it was great. Again, you guys have the embrace. I give her a lot of credit. Her timing of knowing the execution of the handshakes and the hugs for her to be released to run down there. You mentioned conversations. Those are not easy conversations. How important has she been to you keeping your state of mind in a place of absolute belief that tomorrow it's going to be productive?
Yeah, I mean, she's absolutely my biggest supporter, and she's been there with me this whole journey. So this is as much hers as it is mine, to be quite honest with you.
Let me get you to talk about Grayson. You guys you committed to be here, and all of a sudden you find yourself in contention. And Jeff, who's kind of running point, who was such an important part of Grayson's life, said, we're coming. Just don't let that plane leave. Just your relationship with Grayson.
Yeah, I didn't know Grayson super well, but
Yeah.
I've known Jay really well, and
Yep.
he's spoken so highly of Grayson, even before Grayson had passed. And I support my guy just as much as he supports me, and I'm just happy to be here on a special day.
Jay, again, I met him when he was 16. There's complicated aspects to everybody, and he was complicated, but for reasons that a lot of people are not aware of. Just why this day, I'm sure, is going to impact your heart and your mind.
Yeah, it's a very emotional day. It's something that even since he's passed, that this is something we wanted to do. And for it to come to fruition like this, it's amazing to see everyone. You know, obviously it's such a tragedy that it happened. But getting to caddy for Grayson was one of the biggest, greatest honors of my life. He was so generous. He was incredible to be around. And Steven and I have talked about that a lot. And for him to, you know, I asked him a couple weeks ago if he would be interested in playing, and without any hesitation, absolutely. So it means the world to me to be here. You know, Eric and Terry, Grayson's parents,
Yes.
have been, I keep up with them constantly. Jeff, who's, like you said, running everything here with the foundation, Kevin Canning, Grayson's agent. You know, we talk constantly just to remember Grayson and who he was, but I'll always remember him for just being such an awesome guy to me.
Well, as you finish your thought, we hear the bagpipes playing, which is very poignant and powerful, just like yesterday was for you. It's really neat to see people achieve things that they start thinking about at a very tender age. And for you to cross the line in the manner in which you did it, what a neat thing for you, for Jay, for your wife, for everybody who, look, you do it alone, but you know you need people who believe in you. Congratulations. And most importantly, for your relationship with Grayson, for your commitment to be here. Thank you both for coming on.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks,
All right,
Gary. Appreciate
Steven
it.
Fisk, Jay Green. Steven, winner of the Sanderson Farms like 10 seconds ago. Unbelievable. We continue with you. It is hour 2 of 5 Clubs here on Golf Channel from Raleigh Country Club. We're back right after this. Back in on this Monday here on 5 Clubs on Golf Channel. This segment brought to you by Century Insurance. Business insurance needs are met by Century. They are right by you, and they invest in great things. We're very proud to have them as our presenting sponsor. Of course, we are live from Raleigh Country Club, the inaugural Grayson Murray Classic, raising money and awareness for people in need. For mental health, for anxiety, for addiction issues. This is the first of what will be many in the memory of the two-time winner on the PGA Tour. Joining me now, they know what it's like to have success in this town, winning a Stanley Cup in 2006. He was the Conn Smythe winner, which rookies, they don't do that kind of stuff, Cam Ward. And Mr. Game 7 himself, 9 Game 7s in his career, 8-1 all time for his teams. Justin Williams, gentlemen, good morning. Good to see you both.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having us on.
You guys love golf. Let me start, though, with Grayson. Though Grayson loved hockey. He wore your colors. How well did you guys know Grayson?
Well, I mean, sports, you kind of get
connect.
intermingled a little bit, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
And I think Grayson at heart, if you ask, a lot of his close friends, he was a hockey player at heart, and
He had the mentality of he wanted to hit you.
He did. That's the great thing in hockey. When you get upset, you can hit somebody and take your anger out. But he's was a big Hurricanes fan,
Yes.
and we got to know him quite a bit through the Carolina Hurricanes here, and him being such a hockey fan, and us being such avid golfers and love golf as well.
No doubt. Cam, how about you in terms of being around Grayson a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, we had the fortunate ability to be able to play some rounds with him, and it was always a treat to watch him play. He'd and to be able to hang out with him. He was a great guy, and like you said, a competitor. He loved the Hurricanes, and we loved to talk about it and keep him up to date. And it was always a lot of fun and definitely a treat.
Well, I know how much the family, the foundation appreciates you guys being here to support it. You're wearing your old Chatham logo now. I got intel on both of you guys, and apparently, even on Monday when the clubs close, you figured out a way to play 36 holes. Like, your pros right over there, so you better be telling the truth. You guys love it. I mean, you really did. I know you guys were out on the east end of Long Island recently playing golf. Why? What drew you to the game of golf? Both of you growing up in Canada.
Well, you usually want to do things that you're good at, right? So we could hit a golf ball far. We can do that.
Yes.
Not always straight.
Yeah. So obviously the hockey swing and the golf swing are somewhat similar. You got a lot of there's some hockey players on tour that used to play hockey and who hit the ball extremely far. So, you know, I've loved it. And when you retire, you need to find your competitive juices somewhere, right? So it's fun for us to go out and play golf and be competitive with each other.
You know, Cam, for somebody who doesn't have to have quite the synchronicity that he does with the other guys on the ice, you have a lonely existence.
Yeah.
I mean, there are a lot of times the puck's on the other end. You hope it's there a lot.
Yeah.
Is there anything from a mental standpoint that has any type of correlation between the occupation you had and this happy pursuit you now have?
Well, I'd like to think that, yeah, you definitely need the mental toughness in golf just like you had to in hockey. But while that was a strength in what I did in playing hockey, I don't know if that's my strength in playing golf. You know, it's a challenging game, and you're all alone out there. You know, at the end of the day in hockey, we do have a team. It's a team sport. But, yeah, it's our off season. It's a way to, like Willie said, to compete with and be able to connect with friends. And you know, we're pretty fortunate to have Old Chatham here in our backyard, and it's a special spot too.
No, it really is. It's great leadership. How about you? I mean, you can really play. I mean, you've won the club championship, you've won the match play a handful of times. How did you get to a place where you had belief that you could hit shots in a competitive environment in golf? It's one thing to have speed. It's another thing to put a score in a box.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you learn a lot through golf. We all know that. You learn a lot about yourself, and certainly my temper has gone down a lot in years. But I just enjoy it. I enjoy the competitiveness, and when I want to do something, I want to do it to my best ability and see how good you can get. And I think everybody's like that in golf. They're like, I figured it out, I got it, and I've figured it out many times on the range, but still quite don't have it.
No, figuring it out is such a. I mean, it's there, and then it's gone. And, you know, I just had Steven Fisk sitting here. He won a golf tournament yesterday on the PGA Tour.
24 under.
Talking about, you know, belief and doubt and how, you know, they wrestle each other at times. I want you guys to give a sense to a national viewership about Raleigh. You guys come here. Raleigh is not a hotbed for hockey, and you come here and you guys win the Cup in 2006. The fervor for Hurricane hockey in a city that is really on fire, that's got to be cool to be a part of it, to see the growth of a fan base, and for you guys to make a choice to make this your home.
Yeah, we were very fortunate to see the growth. You know, starting in 2005, 2006, I really didn't know what to expect coming down to Raleigh, and I would say it was fairly new to the scene, but it quickly grew a reputation of being one of the best atmospheres in the league, and largely in part of our rookie year, or my rookie year in 2006, and it's great to see the buzz back into the city again, and they got a fantastic team and got a great opportunity to hopefully bring the Stanley Cup back to Raleigh. It's kind of hard to believe that Willie and I are celebrating 20 years this year from when we won in 2006.
Let me tell you, there's a night in there.
There'll be a 20th anniversary celebration night, but we really hope to make new memories with the new players here right now. But as you know, you alluded to, it's such a cool city. You know, and we've seen it grow just like Fisk here. You saw Austin, you know, grow, and you know, it's great to see, and a great golf course here today, Raleigh Country Club, where Grayson played a lot of his golf, and we played a few rounds with him here as well. So we're happy to be here in support of him and his foundation.
Which is great. You guys, I mentioned going out to the East End of Long Island, National Golf Links. That's sublime. Where do you want to get to? Where do you want golf to take you? Are there places that you've got on your mind?
Oh, wow, that's a good question. Well, we definitely checked the box at National Golf Links of America. That was a treat to be down there, and I was glad that we were able to play 2 rounds, because the first one was not so good, and the second one...
You need a couple of national... There's nuance to that golf course.
I was glad the second day went a lot better than the first day, I will say that. Okay. But seeing those neighborhood, the golf course's neighbor side, it definitely would be a treat to see those
the next door neighbor...
Yeah.
You guys got to cross the street and get next door.
Yeah, that's Sabonic and
Shinnecock
right next door. Yeah, I mean, the people who know golf know that area is I mean, one of a kind.
Oh, it's the Holy Land. Yeah. I mean, and there are more out there. How about you? Are there places that you know you're going to, or that you want to get to? Because you love it.
Yes, I certainly do love it. I know there's a lot of hidden gems too. There's even some here in Raleigh, in North Carolina, that up in the mountains that I'd love to go see and play. And unfortunately for us, you know, we both work for the Hurricanes now, but we have a little bit of spare time that hopefully we can we can go and check off a lot of boxes. Maybe go up and play Diamond Creek in
There
North Carolina there. So there's some things that we want to do, and we're excited to do them and have the ability and flexibility to do that.
You mentioned playing golf with Grayson here. Just a final thought about him. What was the most enjoyable part about being around him? He could be chippy, which again for a hockey player, it's got to be kind of amusing that a golfer can bow up.
Yeah, he would always want to press the bet.
Of course he would.
That's exactly what
He wants to win.
do.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm down.
When he's down, it's double or nothing.
Let's play another hole. Let's play another hole. He's like, how many strokes you need? So
I'm not losing a hockey player.
He was a competitor for sure, and you know, just before he passed, he had actually sent us a message being like, hey, can I put my Carolina Hurricanes logo on his bag? And
it's awesome.
And, you know, absolutely. He always loved getting little nuggets from us and things that maybe the public wouldn't know. And such a you know, a happy guy and a fun guy to play golf with. Absolutely.
Listen, again, I'll repeat what I said. I know how much it means to the family that you guys are here. Appreciate you coming over. Appreciate the fact that you guys invest in golf, take time, spend time with friends because it's redeemable, and the competitive part of it I know is enjoyable as well. Justin Williams, Cam Ward, thanks so much, guys.
Yeah, my pleasure.
All right, thanks. They won the Cup 2006. Justin, most points of anybody all time in Game 7s. That's a hell of a footnote. We continue here. A little bit of time left here on a Monday edition of 5 Clubs from the Grayson Murray Classic at Raleigh Country Club. We're back right after this. Welcome back into 5 Clubs here on a Monday from Raleigh Country Club at the Grayson Murray Classic. Year 1 from this great facility. This segment brought to you by Golf Pride. When it comes to grips, they have more options, better materials. That's why more players trust Golf Pride than any other grip company in the world. I'm very honored to be joined now by Grayson Murray's parents, Eric and Terry Murray. Good morning to you both. How you doing?
Good morning. Good
Thank
morning.
you for having us.
Well, thank you for having us, more importantly. I want to start with you, Terry, because my mom lives down the road in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, and my mother, still, I stopped by and saw her yesterday. She'll always be my mom, and I'll always be her son. The things you love most about Grayson, what were the things that tickled you about him?
Probably his passion for not just golf, but for anything he wanted to do. I mean, even going to the gym. I mean, he had a passion for working out, for going to the gym. He had a passion for his nephews. He would, even when he was on the road, he would FaceTime those 2 little boys. He loved them to death. Just anything. I mean, anything, and so many things, you know, he did have a passion for, and he just loved life, you know.
He did, and Eric, it's parents want their kids to be good at stuff because it makes them feel good, and it makes you feel good. When you have somebody who has talent like he had, what was that like when he was 14, 15? I met him when he was 16 years old, and he had already become one of the elite juniors in the world. What was it like to see somebody find something that he was so good at?
Well, he found it at an early age. It wasn't 14 and 15, you know, he found that passion at a very early age. He probably could have been a better baseball player, believe it or not, than a golfer. But for some reason or another, he wanted to, you know, do the golf over the baseball. And it was his passion that carried us rather than, but we did. We like to see Grayson succeed at anything he did. He was a great artist, believe it or not. When he was really young, he could look at something just one time. He could be in a setting just like this room, and a day later, he could sit down and draw it. And he would not leave off a cap in that drawing. He just had an eye. And so there was a lot of things that Grayson could have done. He chose golf. And he rose to the highest level imaginable. The silhouette
of the foundation's logo is that moment at the Sony Open, which is powerful. It was powerful then, and will always be that. When you made the choice to start the foundation, and you want to have a drive and a mission, what is the mission?
Grayson himself. I mean, I think it was back in 2021, he wrote out his plans to start the foundation. And so when I was going through his things after he passed, I found those handwritten notes, and I said, okay, this is our basis. This is what we're going to go with. And we, back at the beginning of 2025, we actually, the foundation came into existence in 2024, and then we formally launched it in 2025. But the foundation is what's kept me going these past 16 months. I mean, if it hadn't been for the foundation and working so hard on it, I don't know where I would be today, because to lose a child is very hard.
It's unimaginable. As a parent, it's the most unimaginable thing, and you have had to experience it. Do you feel the same way?
Absolutely.
That this foundation has given you all a sense of purpose to create the path forward?
It absolutely has. Our entire family, my daughter and my oldest son is so involved. And Grayson, he gave us a path. And we feel like we would just not be honoring him. And we feel like God has entered our life in a different way now. I mean, we were always, Christian family, and he grew up in a Christian home. But now we have a different purpose. And it's all related to, what he wanted. And Grayson, he just, he wanted to help one person at a time. That was he said, if I can just help one person. And that's what we're trying to do, just help one person at a time.
That is the perfect mantra. When families see someone in the family experiencing things that leave them sad and scared and hopeless, like I feel like we're doing everything we can to provide support. And look, as somebody who lives a life of recovery, I've seen bewildered looks on family members' faces. What advice would you give to parents who have siblings or children or spouses that are experiencing things like mental illness and depression and anxiety and addiction issues? What advice would you give as a parent?
Try to learn as much as you can about the illness, because there were days that Grayson, especially when he came home, there were days that he would just stay in his bed all day. And I would think to myself, Grayson, what is wrong with you? Why don't you get up and go practice? Why don't you just go do anything? And he actually couldn't. I mean, he was just in one of those dark places that day. And so I had to learn that he wasn't doing it on purpose. I mean, if he could have been up and outside and doing whatever, he would have been. So I had to learn to have patience and show grace towards him, and know that if he could, he would have been doing something different. No, it's just understanding that you just have to understand the disease.
It's not a lot of these behavioral patterns. They're not things that you sit down and go, you know what, I'm going to stay in bed all day. No, you're riddled with things that are overcoming maybe your best intentions. Right. And that is why I say this, and I wrote about it after his passing, that people need to understand that I know in my heart, seeing him 3 weeks in a row, I saw him with you in the parking lot at Quail Hollow, that he experienced peace and he experienced hope and he saw light. But it doesn't mean that those demons and those things don't still exist. They're dormant, and they will rear their ugly head unless there are resources. And even then, it doesn't mean that you're ever completely out of the woods. I want to ask you very quickly before we're done about today. How much does it mean to you to see these families and these people in golf and in the sports industry come to support this event?
This is I can't put it into words how much it means. I mean, a lot of these people are here and they put things on the back burner personally. And it was really difficult for some of them to get here. I mean, we got people all the way from the West Coast.
You got a guy who was in Scotland yesterday who's going to be here today.
I know. Can you believe that story? And it's amazing, but that's who golfers are. That's the golfing community coming together. But it's not only golfers. Look at the other people here. I mean, we've got hockey players here too.
You got country music stars.
And you know, that was the other thing. Grayson had a passion for his hockey team, his Hurricanes, and he was real passionate about hockey, but it had to be Hurricane hockey.
Absolutely. Yeah, Justin and Cam were saying he called him and he said, I want to put the logo on my bag. That's very important real estate. The things that matter most. A lot of guys have their university logo on the belly of their bag, and it just goes to show you in 30 seconds, just for you to express how much you appreciate the support to the foundation in this day.
Yes, you know, just the people that have rallied around, and it's heartwarming to me to hear the stories, the Grayson stories that people tell me, because Grayson had so many friends out there and so many people that really were trying to stick by him, and you know, it's just heartwarming to know, to see the people here and the people that are going to be at the gala tonight supporting our son.
Well, it's just the beginning for this. That silhouette will become even more impactful in time. Eric and Terry Murray, thank you both. Thank you for having us. Thank you for putting your heart and soul into keeping his memory alive, because his memory is going to save lives, and that's the most important thing. For all of us here at Five Clubs, I just want to say how much we appreciate the opportunity to be here, and I will say again what I said in the aftermath of his passing. We all just have today, and you never know what anybody might be going through. This foundation is built to help others. The Grayson Murray Foundation, it's GraysonMurrayFoundation.com. We're back in Charlotte tomorrow. Have a great Monday.